Hello lovely people, welcome to another video. My name is Athena. I'm a new writer working on my first book whilst homeschooling my two girls and being with them 24/7. So writing time is, yeah, fun times. So I'm working on a fantasy romance. The romance is finally romancing. I initially would always say that it's more fantasy than romance, but at this point I feel like we're making progress. So it has been a couple of weeks since my last update. I did that video right before Easter, knowing that Easter week, like that week leading up to Easter and the weekend of Easter and the couple days after that would probably be like, yeah. So it's been 2 weeks since my last video, 15 days but basically, but today is Thursday, the 1st of May, by the way. But in all reality, I have not had 15 days of writing. So I guess it's more like, maybe I had a week, I would say, if we're being real. So with that being said, my goals in the last video were to hit, I wanted to finish the entire second chunk of the quest of the games and funny games section. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, let me just do a quick recap now that I think of it. I am writing a fantasy romance where there is a quest. They are trying to locate 3 magical objects. So hence the 3 chunks of the quest. This is the second part of the book. The book breaks up into 3 parts of its own accord. Part 1, part 2, part 3. We are in part 2 where we have 3 chunks of their quest. Chunk number 1 is done and dusted. Chunk number 2 was what I was setting out to do last time in the previous video. So right before Easter, I wanted to tackle 12 scenes that made up this chunk of their quest. I am currently sitting at having completed 10 scenes out of 12. I would actually say I'm pretty happy about that because even though I didn't really fail because I didn't necessarily set a time frame, like a full-on time frame. I was kind of saying I wanted it done just after Easter or even like by Easter, but I also knew that that probably would be very hard because I knew hubby was taking time off from work and everyone would be home and it would just, the balance just kind of goes off. And plus Easter we, had like family coming over, we visited family. It was a bit all over the place. So I didn't really have a time frame, so I'm not completely like, oh my gosh, it's the 1st of May, I have failed. I will say I kind of hoped that I wouldn't even be working on draft 3. Like I'd be way into draft 4 in May, generally, like at the beginning of this year. But we've left that behind us. Right now, we are in part 2 at the end of chunk 2. So based on where I wanted to be, yes, I would have wanted to finish the 2 scenes, but that is fine. At this point, it is Thursday. My goal is to have these 2 scenes done and dusted by Monday so that I am setting up the 3rd chunk, the 3rd and final chunk of the second part of the book on Monday. I want to be setting up the chapters, doing all of that. Now, as far as the work I've done so far, there's been a lot of romance. There's been a lot of my characters coming together. There was an almost kiss scene that I wrote yesterday. Oh my gosh. Okay. I enjoyed that more than I thought I would. Like the almost, like the moment where everything is just perfect and aligning and they're coming close and it's almost, and then something happens and it's poof. It stops. They have no choice. They're pulled apart. And it is just so funny how writers can just traumatize their characters. They can yeah. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. So I am having a lot of fun with these scenes. These scenes are also falling into the same, So I've spoken about this before where I say that halfway through my drafts, in both draft 1, which is technically like a 0 draft, but my first draft as well as my second draft, halfway through, the book just starts improving. It's because I'm writing naturally. The more you write, the better you get. You understand your characters better, your world better, where your story is going. So halfway through, it's like a halfway through syndrome, like halfway syndrome or something. I don't know, I have to find a name for it. Where I found that halfway through this book, yet again, as I'm working on draft 3, rewriting, complete rewrite for those who have no idea what I'm talking about, I am completely rewriting the book from start to finish because a lot of it has changed, a lot. It's become clearer, so to speak. Now, halfway through, I am cutting out scenes, I'm chopping up stuff, I'm removing things that don't need to be in there. And I'm realizing that the first part of the book, which has been done since, it's been a while now since it's been done. Took me a while though, took me a while to get it done, but we'll get back to that. So part 1 is gonna need a lot of like cutting down, trimming. It is too big. So I do say that I'm at, how many words? My word count is like 95,000 words at this point. And I'm technically at the midpoint, so. However, the first part is way too long. I know that, and that is perfectly fine because I know that in the next draft, I am going to be condensing that. I have contemplated not moving on to a fourth draft technically once I'm done, but kind of going back and kind of third drafting the first part, like kind of doing what I did with the scenes that I'm working on now, kind of doing that with the first part of the book and doing a bit of a draft 3.2 kind of thing. I don't know. My brain works in a way where I need to keep moving. If I start going backwards, then I'm not making any progress and I just stop. So I don't know if that will work or if I just need to jump into draft 4 and allow myself that draft to just edit and go over and fix the first part. I don't know. Maybe I'll make that draft 4. And then draft 5 will be like the characters and the world building and everything kind of coming together. I don't know. Anyway, that's another video where we're talking about what we're doing draft 4. Right now in draft 3, focus, bringing it back in, you know. The ADHD brain is wanting to kind of move ahead and do all the things. And so currently I love my little, ever since I set this up, I have made ginormous progress. That is all I have to say. I had a digital, like, what was it called? Oh my gosh, pacemaker. I had track bear. I haven't been tracking my words and I feel like I'm tracking scenes and that just feels better to me. And also having it on paper and actually having it sit there on my desk while I'm working and I'm able to just put little ticks, it has made the world of difference for me. Brain hacks, what can I say? So I have the 2 final little scenes down here at the bottom so that I can finish the second chunk of part 2 of the book. And then I have the third chunk, which I am hoping, and this is my goal for the next few days. This is my goal that on Monday, I will be done with these 2 scenes and I will be setting up the third chunk of their quest of part 2. So the third chunk is 19 scenes, so about plus 1 new one that I'm gonna be adding 20 scenes. So that's, yeah. Ideally, and this is just me being very ideally, okay? That's the word here. I would like to be done with all of this by the end of May. I really need to be done by the end of May and just kind of jumping into like giving myself June to figure out what I need to edit and then get into revisions. You know what I mean? I need to start revisions, start revising the story that I already have. I will say, despite saying that I know part 1 needs work and needs chopping up and removing of certain things, like there's just too much in there that doesn't need to be there, that can all be done in revision. Like, I don't actively need to change the scenes, the setting, the things that are happening necessarily, as much as I just need to kind of condense and bring them all together in a better way. So again, it's more so revision, really, if I really let myself think about it. So again, pulling myself back and not running ahead. My goals for today, tomorrow, the weekend as much as I can get in, and Monday are these 2 scenes. I'm not gonna put too much on me. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I wanna be all set up by Monday. If I finish these 2 scenes on Monday, if I like type in the last few words on Monday, I will be happy, okay? So, and then I wanna move on and set up the third chunk and kind of move on from there. I will be happy with that. I mean, if I want to like be all delusional, as I said, and go into like what I really would want, but I know realistically it's not a thing, I would want to get these scenes just done today and tomorrow. And then spend the weekend, what time I have in the weekend, setting up the third chunk so that Monday, like a perfect clean slate, I can start the third chunk and just really go to town on that and have that done. Like, I mean, 20 scenes, you could, I mean, yeah, I wanna be done with like the third chunk and be working on part 3 of the book before the end of May. And that sounds insane to me because I have taken so long doing, like, it has taken me so long to get this draft done. I'm just not even, yeah. But again, it has been a full rewrite. There have been so many issues and so many problems along the way. Not with the book, actually, but more so with life and not having the time to actually, not having as much time as I want to actually focus on this. But ideally, I want to have made like a lot of progress, by the end of this month. That's my monthly, let's set a monthly goal. How about that? I like that idea. So weekend goal, tackle this chunk, finish these 2 scenes and be done with them. Monday, we're gonna start working on our, the new week goal would be to start working on the 3rd chunk and setting up all the chapters and getting into that and really marching through all that fun stuff. And then monthly goal, this is gonna be completely, I want to be done with the 2nd part of the book, and I want to have jumped into a good chunk of the 3rd part of the book. Now I have no idea how I'm gonna break up the 3rd part of the book, no clue, so I can't really, but I want to be full on working on the 3rd part of the book before the end of May. So I've put that out there now. With that being said, I am gonna stop rambling on and get some work done, because that's kind of the point. I have 2 scenes to tackle. So ideally, today and tomorrow, I tackle these scenes. Over the weekend, I finish the setup of the 3rd chunk of part 2, and Monday, I'm starting that 3rd chunk. I will see you guys again on Monday to see how much I actually get done. That'll be fun. Bye, guys.